Warframe has a lot of different frames to choose from, and most of them are solid for majority of content. But what are the big three? First, let's define the criteria. We have a lot of incredible nuke frames in this game, but that alone does not make them the best picks for most content. What I mean by the big three is this: the frames that trivialize 90% of Warframe's missions with ease. That means easy to play, easy to build, and able to bypass the layers of difficulty the game tries to throw at you. Yes, this is partly opinion-based, but I'm going to justify my picks as clearly as I can. And I'm sure the second I said that criteria, at least one of these frames popped into your head. Quick intro, and let's get into it. Warframe! Okay, enough of that. First up, Revenant. You probably knew this one was coming. Revenant is one of the most popular frames that newer players try to go for, and for good reason. His Mesmer Skin makes him functionally immortal, and as long as you have enough casting speed and you keep an eye on your stacks, almost nothing in this game can kill you. The main exceptions are ability nullifiers like Violence, those Corpus and Orokin Bubble Boys, and that Murmur boss. There might be some more I'm missing, but there's really not much in this game that can interfere with him. And the wild part is, Mesmer Skin is not just easy mode survivability. It literally bypasses mechanics that DE has put in place to make certain encounters harder. My two best examples, and the two pieces of content I always use Revenant for, are solo Netracells and the Coda Lich final encounter. In Netracells, you pick up a bunch of debuffs, and a lot of them punish you for doing basic actions. With Mesmer Skin, you simply do not have to care as much. I should say, some debuffs that drain your health passively will still chip away at you, but because you're basically immune to enemy damage, managing that extra pressure becomes a non-issue. For sustain, just use the Operator or Drifter with Magus Elevate or Magus Repair, and you're chilling. I personally run Elevate because I'm constantly hopping in and out of Drifter for movement anyway. Plus, since I use Madurai, I'm getting extra casting speed and power strength, which helps keep Mesmer Skin stacked up. This turns a mode that is meant to be challenging solo into glorified extermination. One more quick note. Mesmer Shield is an augment that can share up to 5 stacks of Mesmer Skin with allies. So yes, you can make your team immortal too, because why not? The same energy applies to the Coda Lich showdown. There's a phase where laser beams and ground waves fire off, and most frames have to dodge around like it's Geometry Dash. With Revenant, you just stand there. And the funniest part is, that mechanic does not even chip away at your Mesmer Skin stacks. I do not have footage right now because I have not farmed liches in a while, but trust me, it makes the encounter feel borderline unfair for them. And that's just Mesmer Skin. On top of that, Revenant has Reave, which can delete level cap enemies when paired with Roar and enough power strength, because it deals percentage-based damage. Reave is also his Helminth, which means you can give Rhino the same nonsense, but that's a different video. Still not enough? He's also got Danse Macabre, an AoE nuking ability. Early game, meaning before Steel Path, it's genuinely insane. It falls off at higher levels, but it can still do work when built correctly. If you want to take the Beyblade build into Steel Path, check out Hunkpain Gaming. They showcase a setup for it. And finally, I'll mention his first ability, Enthrall, which is decent crowd control and pairs well with Reave. Personally, I use it mostly because it looks cool having enemies under your control. Put all of that together, and Revenant becomes one of the strongest tanks, damage dealers, and even support frames in the game, while requiring very little effort to play or build. 2. Wukong. Second on the big three is one of my personal favorites, for a reason I'll get to. The one and only Monkey King, Wukong. Wukong was the most played frame of 2025, and I would even argue he was the main influence for the meta shift around the slam nerfs. But what actually makes him so good? Firstly, we got Primal Fury, his exalted staff. And yeah, it is still very strong even after the slam changes. Build it for electricity, slap on Roar, Wrathful Advance, or even Nourish over his first ability, and you'll wipe hordes of Steel Path enemies. I have not tested Roar versus Wrathful Advance deeply enough to call a definitive best in slot, because both clear groups incredibly well. But if I had to bet, Roar is probably the safer pick overall because it can double dip with faction damage mods. But that is not what makes Wukong broken. There are plenty of strong exalted weapons in Warframe. What makes Wukong broken is how hard he is to kill, and how much of the game he turns into a convenience simulator. His passive gives you 3 free revives if you are ever downed, somehow. Defy makes you invulnerable for a few seconds, which lets you ignore lethal hits if you know they're coming. It also gives you a huge armor boost, which is already more than enough for regular steel path. It can also open up arcane persistence to keep you feeling borderline immortal, and if you really wanted to go full overkill, you could add energy tanking like Hunter's Adrenaline plus Quick Thinking. Personally, I do not think you need it because of the next ability. Cloudwalker. Cloudwalker is ridiculous. It makes you invulnerable, which is always good. It lets you fly around the map at a very solid speed, which makes traversal easy, speeds up missions, and removes a lot of tileset pain. But it also heals you while you're invulnerable, which means you don't need extra sustain sources like Arcane Reaper or constant operator healing. And a quick note on what's probably its least useful interaction, but still cool. You can charge shots while cloudwalking. So if you're using something like a bow, you can line up a precise shot while completely safe. Not game-changing, but it's nice. Now here's why Cloudwalker is one of my favorite abilities in the entire game. While cloudwalking, you are invisible not just to enemies, but to lasers as well. Which means Wukong is the undeniable GOAT of spy missions. Loki what? Ivara who? Wukong does the same job faster, with flight, and without needing parkour. Pair that with perspicacity for instant hacks, plus Shade or a Kubro for extra stealth, and you should never fail a spy mission again. I actually run a spy setup that subsumes perspicacity over his 4th ability. Celestial Twin lets you summon a copy of Wukong that uses a copy of your current weapon. Most of the time it's better to subsume over Twin because Roar and other buffs are stronger overall. But in spy missions, Celestial Twin is weirdly helpful. It does not raise alarms, and it can clear enemies while you stay invisible. Is it necessary? Not really. Is it nice to have? Absolutely. I cannot stress how much I hated spy missions before discovering Wukong's proficiency in them. Ivara felt too slow. Everything else felt like a chore. Wukong turns spy into something that barely takes longer than a capture mission. He just flies to the vault, deletes the effort, and leaves. And all that together is why he deserves a spot in the Big 3. Also, he's super easy to acquire. Join a clan with the research done and you can build him early. Now for the last spot we have... Wait, what's that? What is that sound?
Load of stuff, the Big 3, to know it's just bib me. You'll hear my sound but won't see me coming. Multiply shots with this rhythmic gun and now jump, jump, jump to the beat. I boost my speed but I'm never running. And that's all just from one ability. If you think that's all, that's really silly, G. Turn up the amp and drop the ballad, though it's more like Hammer of Divinity. And I need no mods to drop my ops. Always keep my foes all on their toes. I'm a goat that knows no equal. Get you saying, I behold the regal.
The last Warframe in the Big 3 is Octavia. Octavia is so overpowered, and her kit scales so well that she does not need a single mod to shred Steel Path enemies. She's good at everything. Ability nuke, check. Gunrunner, check. Melee, check. Mobility, check. Damage amplification, objective protection, avoiding enemy detection. Check, check, check. Octavia is, in my opinion, the most broken frame in the game. Her kit does so much that it feels unfair. Her downside? Carpal tunnel from crouching too much to go invisible. And honestly, she's so strong that she's kind of boring. I genuinely think that is the only reason she has not been hit with a heavy nerf. Her aesthetic is quirky, with the whole music theme, and the gameplay can become too easy to the point where it stops being fun. I don't even have loads more to say about her, because the frame speaks for itself. You've got flexibility with Helminth. Resonator is not really needed, and if you want Roar, you can subsume over Amp, depending on what you're doing and how you like to play. Strongest frame in the game, hands down. And to be real, I might even be missing some ridiculous interactions, because I have not played her much recently. She's just too good. And that's it. That's my current Big 3 of Warframe in 2026. Do you agree with the list? If not, what would your picks be? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, do not forget to leave a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps me grow, and it gets me closer to the dream of being a full-time Warframe content creator. Big love as always. Take care, y'all.